Yeah, sure. Is this your first time doing this? Hello, hello. Is that what they were using on that React to Delphia stream?
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Now you talk? Okay,
Yo.
cool. Yeah, right. We're good. All right, so, yeah, this is gonna be sick. So so we're gonna build a waitlist app. And so like I was thinking about this, we can go about it a couple different ways. Obviously, like I think we're both stoked on using Twilio and actually like getting the text message part down. But I think that probably like the best way to go about it is just start with like the management side of things. Like just like try to build an app where like we can manage a wait list of people, like add people to the wait list, and then like when we click a button in the interface, it removes somebody from the wait list, and like then the you know the barber can start cutting their hair. And like even doing that part alone will have a lot of cool things to look into. And then the next step would actually be then like hooking in the text messaging part. So like the first step is just getting getting this thing working without text messages, and then part two is like take the working thing and now make it work with text messages instead of like us pressing buttons and shit.
I think that makes sense.
Cool. One of the okay. First things first. Let's start a VS Code live share. Have you ever done this? Okay, so yeah, let's do VS Code live share. It's pretty sick. Um, so I'm just gonna pop open my VS Code and I'm gonna send you a link. That way, what we do is we can like
Cool.
share an editor, share like our terminal window, so we can run commands all on the same like thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can also share like local development ports. So we can both be looking at the same development environment in our browsers and like using the same APIs and stuff like that.
Cool.
Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna start a collaboration session. Just a sec. Okay. Now, invitation link copied to clipboard. So I'll send you this, and then you can click that, and you'll probably have to like go click a bunch of like things like authorizing or opening VS Code. I don't really know how much other red tape you have to get through.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm. How's it going?
I'm stoked for this because I'm actually doing another group project this week, so it'll be cool to get a nice feel for this and hopefully use it on that project as well.
For sure. Yeah. Are you pretty busy with school stuff?
This week I'm doing like a hackathon through this company Mint Bean, so
Okay.
it's like a week-long hackathon.
Sick.
For a project that I'll find out the details for tomorrow morning or
who
maybe Wednesday morning.
Who else is in it? Like, how did you find out about it?
Sign in or continue as read-only guest. Sign in.
Yeah, sign in. You should be able to sign in with GitHub or Microsoft. Both.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, it's a company that I did a hackathon a week or two ago.
Okay.
And it's just like anyone can join. And there's people from all over, and you basically have a few hours to complete a small little project, and then you do code review, which is really helpful. And then Juno partnered with the company as well, so we're doing it like an internal hackathon essentially.
Nice.
So that should be cool.
Okay, while you're getting that set up, well, actually we can talk a little bit about. I said that we're gonna make a plan, I guess. And so maybe it might be helpful to do that once you have this live share set up. We'll just like create a repo and just like start hatching a plan of attack.
I think I should be able to open it right now, but I'll let you know.
Yeah, this is like even better than doing like a screen share because it means that we can actually like work on the same code base at the same time together. Like you can write code on your end, save it, and it'll like refresh the development server for both of us. We're basically like sharing a development environment.
Oh yeah. Cool. Joining collaboration.
Okay, sick. You're in.
I'm in.
Okay, cool. So at the bottom of your window, do you see a terminal? And you can type in it? Awesome. Yeah. Cool.
Is anything
I
happening?
see it. Okay, so
I don't see it.
You should. Oh wait, you're not seeing anything on your end?
Yeah.
Even when I type in here like this?
No. 1 second. Do I need to be on a particular? Like, there's no files yet, are there?
There isn't. Here, you know what? What I'm gonna try actually is I'm gonna stop the session. I'm just gonna create a directory, and open that directory in VS Code, and then start a new session. Okay. I think that'll work better. Okay. So this is all very new, even for me as well. So we're gonna call this project. Do you want to just call it Sorrento?
Yeah, sure.
Project Sorrento.
It sounds classified.
Yeah, dude. I was talking with Deco earlier today, and we were talking about calling it like rebranding his barbershop like 80s sci-fi themed, like like making it like super techno e Sorrento, like next level.
Please don't. Please don't.
It could be really fun, dude. Okay, so
I'm sure all the old patrons would love
yeah,
that.
they come back after COVID, and it's like, all right, now to enter our barbershop, first download the app and take a photo of your face that we'll use for facial recognition once you enter the barbershop for everybody's safety. All right, let's try this again. Let's start a new collaboration session, and then paste you a link once it's ready. Okay, there you go. Go hit that second link.
Saying session is not active. Please contact the session host for a new link.
Oh my god, unreal. Okay, let's try this one then. This looks like the same one. You sure you clicked the second one? Or like the most recent one?
That might have been it.
Got him.
It just looked like one long link. I promise I'm professional.
All right, here we go.
Loading file tree.
Damn. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens. Oh. Hey, Ken Taylor joined the collaboration session. All right.
Sorrento.
Cool. Okay, so now I'm going to click on Share Terminal. Okay, now do you see a terminal window pop open?
Yeah. Oh.
And when you type in it, you can see your typing?
Yeah.
Okay, can you see mine?
Yep.
Great. This is awesome. So now we can actually like start sharing stuff. So yeah, the first thing that we'll do just to like get started, like I always do Git init. So make this a Git repository so we can start like committing our changes to GitHub. And then yeah, the other thing that we'll need to do is npm init. So that we can start like installing node packages. And I'm just going to use this. I go npm init and then -y, and what this does is it just creates a package JSON in the root of our repo with all the defaults. Otherwise, it would ask you to like fill out all this stuff, but we just want a plain old package JSON, and there it is. Also, if you're, I think in the when we have a file open, can you see this? Oh yeah. So then if either of us click the pin icon in the top right, we can follow the other. So every time, if I'm following you, then every time you open a file, it'll open up in my window, and when you like scroll around the file, it'll follow your scroll, and that kind of thing. So that's kind of handy.
Sweet.
Okay, but now the next thing we want to do. Oh yeah, let's just do this. We'll create a README. And in here, we'll devise a plan. An SMS, what did we call it? SMS-based waitlist for Vancouver, for a Vancouver barbershop. All right, the plan. So here's what I'm thinking. Like, we'll basically need to have. There'll be like three main components, I guess. One is there's like a admin panel, and this is like where barbers will like take someone off the top of the wait list. And then there's an API, which which will manage the wait list. So maybe a better way to do maybe a better way to explain it is we'll think through the process of how it works. So someone arrives at Sorrento Barbers, and they see a sign on the window. Window text number to get on the wait list or whatever, and then yeah. So then this person texts our number with their name, and then we put them in a some kind of list.
Mm-hmm.
Put them in a list.
At which point that's when they would receive a text.
Yeah.
With the allotted time.
Yeah, send them a text back with number of people ahead of them and estimated wait time. Okay, and then when a spot opens, or when a barber finishes a cut, they basically what do we call it? They're hitting a button that says next customer. What do we call that? Advancing the list or something?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that describes the action you want to...
They hit, yeah. Next customer. Okay. And then we send the customer a text message saying something like, your spot is available for the next 5 minutes. Well, I'm also going to say we remove the customer from the list. We remove the first customer from the list,
Mm-hmm.
the top of the list.
Which we could maybe want to do in one button click, is to have the next customer / remove first customer.
Yeah, exactly. This would be...
That would all be part of one action.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we can break that up into separate actions, because these two are basically responses to this one. So maybe it would look something like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put customer at the end of a list. Okay, so then so this is basically the idea. This is the action, and then these are the events that transpire as a result of the action. And then this is the action. When they finish a cut, they hit next customer, and we remove the I guess first customer top of the list is redundant. We remove the customer from the top of the list, remove a customer from the top of the list, and send the customer a text message saying, your spot is available for the next 5 minutes. Pretty straightforward, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
sorry, before you go on, we should also probably have some sort of plan for customers who are in the queue that don't end up showing up.
Hmm.
Because there is a possibility, like, okay, they get a message saying your spa is available for 5 minutes, but they've already gone and done something else.
Yeah, true.
So is it after 5 minutes they automatically get removed, or
Yeah, well,
we should have some sort of like contingency plan for?
that's a good point. Yeah. I was thinking that like when they hit next customer, we just like we pluck that next customer from the top of the list. Like we remove them and send them a text all in one, and then
Yeah, true.
from the barber's standpoint, they just see like who the next person is. There's no maybe I don't know. What do you think? Should there be like a concept of like this is the this is the current person because there's going to be four barber seats. Um, so then it would have to be like tracked individually. I'm thinking that
Mm,
it would be simpler if we're just like it's essentially like a pull a number system from a butchery. Like
yeah.
once you pull the number or once they read a number, it's like if you don't come up and claim your number like say with your number, they're just going to go on to the next one.
Okay. So after 5 minutes, that it calls out the next number
Yeah, I think
or
so.
sends out the text to the next customer.
Yeah. Yeah, or
I
it's
like
like it's
that.
all at the
It keeps
barber's.
things like
Yeah,
casual.
it's like at the barber's discretion. Like they hit next customer, and I was talking with Deco about this, and he was like, after I finish a cut, I'll hit next, and then like spend the next 5 minutes cleaning up my station and like
Hmm.
disinfecting and doing all this stuff, and then if they're not there by the time I'm ready, I'm gonna hit next again, and like get the
Hmm.
next person in line. Um, so yeah, it'll be like super casual.
Yeah. Keep it in the Sorrento tradition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking like we can talk a bit about like tools we'll use. Um, so I guess to start off, like we can use like build a front end with React. That's something that we're both pretty familiar with, right?
Hmm.
And then in order to do all of this, um, well, like yeah, we'll start I guess with the list management. And there's a tool that I've used before called Redis, and it's like a kind of like an ephemeral database thing. It's like stores data in memory. Like it doesn't. It's meant for these kind of like temporary. It's like meant as a temporary data store for stuff like this. Like we add and remove people from our list all the time, and it offers us really good um, like a really nice API for like popping somebody off the top of a list or like pushing somebody onto the bottom of a list, and it manages all that stuff itself really well. So I was thinking that we use like Redis uh, as a data store, and then in order to the other kind of wrinkle to this is that all of the barbers have to be able to like see the current state of the waitlist and like keep everybody in sync all the time. Like when somebody texts and gets added to the waitlist, that person should show up on everybody's whether it's their tablet or their phone or like however they're viewing the list. Like it has to just happen
Hmm.
automatically. And so to do that, we can use like a thing called WebSockets um, to uh, like keep things in sync. Um, and that should do the trick there. And that like these three things I think we can get into tonight. And then the next things that we'll need is obviously like we talked about like Twilio um, for like programmatic SMS and yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably it in terms of like web tools. but we'll get into the Twilio stuff later, I guess.
Hmm.
All right. Cool. I'm gonna create a Git repo and or like a repo on GitHub and just commit
Sounds
this
good.
stuff to it.
Do you always use the VS terminal?
No, normally I use iTerm most of the time, but yeah, the VS Code
Yeah,
terminal is
same.
just really useful when you're doing a live share.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's see. I'm just gonna create a new repo. And in my terminal here, I can like add or like link the repo that I just created to this local one, saying like git
Hmm.
remote add origin, and then the repo URL. And then you can go like git remote -v to check to make sure that you have your or check to see what the repos associated with this directory are, and then we'll just like add everything and make a commit. Okay.
Hell yeah.
So, so yeah, we can do these like do these two things in any order, I guess. Like we need both before we can really get anything meaningful working. But what do you think? Should we just
Hmm.
like spin up a
React app?
React app quick?
Yeah.
All right. Um, so I'm just thinking like we might yeah, we might want to like keep these two things separated, like our API and our client. So we can do that for starters, like just create a client directory and an API directory, and then we'll work in either one of those depending on what we're doing. So I'm going
Okay.
to make a client directory, and we'll just throw that package JSON in there. And yeah, we can just like spin up a React app first. So we can in the terminal cd into client, and then install some stuff. And one of the things that I really like using, I don't know if you've used it very much, but yo, what's up, Audrey Feldroy? Thank you for the follow. And what's up, Sandy? Um, a lot of time now when I'm working with React, I like to do or I like to use Gatsby as like just a way to get a React app up and running real quick. I don't know if you've used Gatsby before, but it's pretty slick.
I haven't used it, but it's a name that I've seen around a lot.
Mm-hmm. Um,
I'm excited to use all these things that I've never used.
cool. Yeah, let's
I feel
let's
like
do it. I mean, the other option is just using like create React app. I haven't really used create React app, but I've heard good things about it. I'm just
that's what I always use.
okay. How do you like it?
I mean, I don't know any other
True,
any
true.
other way. So,
Um,
what's like
let me
what's the
see.
benefit of Gatsby? Like, what's the difference?
Well, okay. So Gatsby, like the real like where Gatsby gets a lot of its power is that it's a static site generator. So like it's really helpful if you're building like a website with like pages and shit like that. And it's basically like a way to generate static HTML files from React code. And like that's really like what its purpose is, but it also just has a kick-ass development environment, and it's really easy to spin
Mm.
up and like start building a site with React if you use Gatsby, and so that's why I tend to use it. I'll
Well, I'd be
yeah, I can. I'd be happy to show you kind of like what the workflow is, and you'll see it's like really simple to get started, and it's like in its most simple form, it has a really small footprint compared to some other things again, I've never used Create React App, but my understanding is that it like creates a whole like directory structure for you and like adds lots of extra files and stuff. Um,
yeah. It has basically the first thing I do is delete a bunch of
yeah.
stuff
Okay.
every time.
Yeah, and I've
So
had a
I'm
similar kind of experience using stuff like that. So what I typically do here is I just go like npm install three things: Gatsby, React, and React DOM. Um, so Gatsby, like I don't know if you're familiar with tools like Webpack or things like that, but basically like a lot of the tooling that is required to build a React site is all kind of bundled up and managed by Gatsby itself. So you don't have to like add lots of configuration if you don't want to. And then the other awesome thing about Gatsby is that it has like this ecosystem of plugins. So it allows you like in a really simple way to add like extra bits of functionality to your app, like just by configuring a plugin in your Gatsby config, which we might get into, but it's not really critical for what we're doing right now. But anyway, we'll just let this thing install, and
yeah, I wonder if it'll take. Do you think it'll take longer because we're on live?
I don't know. I don't think so because ultimately it is just installing to my computer, but
True.
this shit takes a long time to install anyway. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Gatsby, the stuff that you install to run your local development environment is pretty monster. But the beautiful thing about Gatsby is that the results, like the output, I guess, of a Gatsby site is super fast because for the most part it's all just like HTML files, and
Mm.
HTML files load incredibly fast. Um, and yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a good time.
Hell yeah.
It is taking quite a while though.
It's all good. Installing Create React app on my computer in particular takes forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these things, like a lot of these like web development tooling packages are not very lightweight. They
Yeah.
can be a bit of a
It's funny,
beast.
and like in in class it would be like people would be like, are we gonna be creating a React app shortly? Because if so, I'll get started on it.
Yeah,
Like, everyone's computer's working at a different speed,
true.
so
Yeah,
some people just became, I gotta get this shit going.
yeah. You gotta like let them know the day before. But any time now, this shit's gonna be popping off. Hmm. Dude, it's so funny. This Skype window thing is pretty sick, but it keeps on resizing itself within the stream layout, and I don't know how to on mine, right? Like when, yeah, constantly had to resize. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know what the deal is with that, but yeah, your video, I keep having to resize your video too. Oh well, that's all right. Miguel's in the chat. He says, "Look at that stash."
Like that, buddy?
It's a good one.
It's for you.
Yeah, Carlos, you've seen it happen to other streamers too, huh? I don't know what the deal is. Like, if when it works, this NDI Skype thing is so sick, but when it's resizing the window all the time, it's not that not that fun. And we're still installing Gatsby, React, and React DOM, by the way. This shit is just taking its time. That's all right. Though, what are you sipping on, Ken?
I'm sipping on some coffee.
Wow,
I've
late.
been at it for a while today, so want to be on my A game.
Sure. I mean I'm on the same train here.
A little bit of late night coffee and banana bread never hurt
Oh
nobody,
my
you know.
God. That sounds delicious. I could go for some banana bread right now. I baked some cauliflower tonight.
Oh, nice.
It was
How was it?
delicious. I actually ended up not using the recipe that Mel sent me. I told my sister that I was gonna make baked cauliflower, and she was like, "Oh my God, like I have a recipe for you, and you should use this instead of what you were gonna use." And so I did that instead. It was
Damn.
like they were like cauliflower, like vegan chicken wings, basically, like buffalo cauliflower
I've made that
wings.
recipe as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
nice.
great.
Okay, now what I'm seeing here is that a little message just popped up. I don't know if you saw it, but the Git repository
Yep.
has too many active changes. Do you see that in VS Code?
I see 0 vulnerabilities.
Nice.
Is it?
Well, for you, yeah, don't worry about it. Basically, because we installed a bunch of node modules, our node modules directory in the client, like within the client directory, is now like being tracked by Git, and it just has a fuckload of changes. So one important thing to do is just create a Git ignore file at the root of the repo, and we're just going to say like always ignore node modules. Yeah, so now node modules are not treated as like as changes that need to be tracked in Git. The other thing I'm going to do is just delete a bunch of this extra shit from our package.json and add a start script so that we can call npm start and have it run the Gatsby build step, which is or like the Gatsby local development step, which is just Gatsby develop. So now when we run Gatsby develop in the console, it'll run Gatsby develop within this client directory. And the other thing that I need to do is we're going to need to add another git ignore file, but just within the client directory, saying to ignore these two directories, cache and public. And those are two like directories of like built files that Gatsby will create. And again, we don't want to track those in Git. So yeah, then the only thing that we need to get a React app running is we just create a file in source/pages/index.js. So we can just go import React from React and create like a dummy component here. Export default. Oh my God, I can't type. And just return like Hello world. So now, if we run npm start, yes sir. Yeah.
Beautiful. Feet on the ground?
Yeah, I do. They're
Okay.
going nuts, eh? That's
They're going
awesome.
out for a walk.
Oh, sweet. Where do you guys like to take them?
Uh, Usually start off in the Grange Park and then usually side
Okay,
streets because they're not city. They're not used to the city too well yet.
I see.
So right now they're just going for a short loop
Right
in the
on.
park.
What's up, Mel?
Trevor says hi.
All right, cool.
That
No worries, man. Oh yeah, Carlos, you pushed node modules to GitHub one time. Yeah, that's don't want to be doing that, but it's not irreversible. Okay, so now we have a development server running, and if I go to my local or my live share, I can actually,
yeah, it's
yeah,
saying
you should be able to open up localhost 8000 on your computer.
yeah.
You see it?
I see it. Hello world.
Sick.
It's beautiful.
Okay, and now, like if you go into index.js and you like make some changes and then save it, you should see those changes reflected in your browser as well.
Beautiful. Let's give it oh, how dare you. I wonder
Oh, we'll have to wrap these too.
bow. Damn, I think
Is my editor like adding extra tags?
I think you have some like extensions that are coming through maybe?
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Like the auto closing tags.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
it's working.
nice. Oh yeah, beautiful. Um, cool.
Boom, boom,
Let's leave
boom.
that with the div tags and stuff in there.
Okay. Well, is Emmett gonna work?
No, that's probably only on yours. That's the problem. Is like, yeah, I think it only uses the extensions that the host computer has, and not the
Interesting.
local one. All right, and then yeah, let's throw in another thing for good measure. Um, yeah, so here's like one. Okay, I guess we have to do something like this. There we go. So yeah, this all works, and that's cool. But the formatting is really yucky, and so we could like go in here and clean it up and add a semicolon and like make sure the indentation is correct. But what I like to do is use um, use something called ESLint to just do all that stuff for me automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do actually is just create a new terminal so that we can keep our development. Actually, we'll stop our development server for now and just do something like I'm going to install a few dev dependencies. So we can say like npm install save dev so that these dependencies are ones that like we only run in development. They're not like part of the actual app code base. And
Okay.
those are ESLint, which is like a program called a linter. Are you familiar with linters?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the ESLint.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we can use ESLint, and then I have a like my own ESLint config that I use, and I just publish it under my name. So at trevorblade/ESLint config. So we can install
Damn.
those, and my ESLint config comes with prettier rules as well. And like if you're familiar with prettier, it's like it's meant to basically just like format your code based on
Hmm.
some pretty strict opinions. So we'll wait for that to finish installing. Maybe this does take longer, or I wonder if it could also be taking longer because I'm like streaming and on Skype at the same time. My bandwidth is already kind of taxed.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's all right, dude. I got nothing but time.
Me too.
What time? Wait, when does your hackathon begin?
At 9
Oh
tomorrow
shit.
morning, but I don't know what the orientation entails. Like the actual hack doesn't start until Wednesday, I
Okay.
believe. So I don't know. Tomorrow is just like getting people familiar with the process, or if we're doing like a test
I see.
build or something. I don't know.
All right. Cool.
It's not a big deal. I got to.
Cool. Cool.
I got nothing but time.
Sick. All right. We should be close to finished here. I'm excited to show you how this works. Like this is one development tool that is like I can't do without basically, just because it takes so much. It like adds so much value automatically. Okay, so now that that's installed, we're in our package JSON now, and you can create an ESLint config key and pass it the property extends, and then I just pass it the name of the ESLint config that I want to load. And I'm actually gonna reach into my ESLint config and grab I have like a React specific one.
Hmm.
So now in the index.js, even if you do things like using, oh no, maybe this won't work. Usually I have to like restart my editor for these changes to, or for ESLint to start taking effect. Maybe it'll work if I just close some files. Let's see. No. That's okay. Here, why don't I'm just going to restart this browser. I'll send you a new live show link.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Or not browser, but VS Code.
I love this so far.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Like it's kind of magical, honestly. Okay.
I would imagine this is what a lot of remote work is accomplished through.
Yeah, like I use this. I use this quite a bit with coworkers. This is weird. Why isn't it not? It's like not picking up these changes. Let me just debug this for a sec.
No worries.
What in the world? I gotta check something out. 1 second.
I'm gonna grab a sweater.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'm gonna check that next, Carlos. This project is my VS Code might just be like really acting up. There it goes. Okay, there. Now it worked. That was just really, really sluggish. Um, that's interesting.
What's going on?
Apparently, I think something messed up with the install. That's so weird. Okay. Give me a sec. I'm just gonna get rid of our node modules. Oh, this might suck actually, but yeah, it might be. I think it'll be worth it anyway. CD client npm install. Bear with me, Ken.
No worries. Those pesky node modules.
Yeah, honestly. I feel good about this try though. Usually, you know, if things aren't going your way, you can just delete node modules and try again. It's like a developer rule of thumb. It's like the unplug it and plug it back in strategy.
Quite familiar with that one.
What was for dinner tonight?
We had some pasta. Mel's brother's girlfriend's brother owns out in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Okay.
And he has like a really nice Italian restaurant out there, and now has a line of pasta sauces.
Wow.
So we ordered a bunch. Quite tasty.
Mel's brother's girlfriend's brother. Her sister's.
Mel's brother's girlfriend's brother. Yeah.
Okay.
Never met the guy, but he makes a tasty sauce.
All right. Miguel asked what's it doing right now. We're basically installing a bunch of libraries that we need to use to build our thing. So now, if everything went well, then let's just see what happens here. I'm gonna try loading this project again. Yeah, the program just installed a bunch of stuff for us. And hopefully oh man, it's still giving us shit.
Is it giving us shit specifically for ESLint or for?
Yeah, this ESLint import plugin that I'm using in my ESLint config is seemingly not working as we expected to. What I'm going to do quickly is just I want to see which version of import I have installed in another project that is working, and then cross-reference that with the one that I have in our project. Yeah, hope. Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, we did our best, but honestly, there's really nothing more we can do. You're on your own, buddy. Okay, so yeah, version 2.20.2 appears to be installed there. Let's see if it is actually installed. ESLint, login, import. That's so weird. Yeah, this should be working no problem. Let me try something else. Um, oh, let's see. What I'm going to do is just create another script in. Oh wait, I'm not sharing this with you anymore. I'm going to get you back in this.
Get me in. Put me
All
in.
right. Let's try this again. All right. Hop in there. The latest link. Hmm. So it appears to be a problem with like my VS Code's own like ESLint instance. I'm gonna check something here in my preferences here. Oh yeah, dude. There we go. This is super strange and unfortunate that this thing is behaving poorly. We're gonna get on our feet soon. I swear, man. I swear.
I'm ready.
I
But
know.
this is just my typical coding atmosphere right now.
Okay, so now I have it. Okay, so I have this shit working in. Um, I think I know. I think I know what has to happen here. I think. Um, so VS Code is going to look at the root of our entire like project directory for a local copy of ESLint to be installed, and if not, it's going to use its own like global copy. Because we have ESLint installed as a dev dependency of only the client directory, it's not picking up these dependencies and running them. It's just trying to run its own shit, and it's breaking. So what we're gonna do instead is at the root directory, I'm gonna go npm init y, just like create a package JSON, and npm install ESLint and the same ESLint config out at the root of the directory, and then we can uninstall those from our client project directory. Because ideally, we're actually going to be running ESLint on both the API and the client, so it makes sense to have like one copy installed at like a higher level than like the two individual project directories.
Cool.
So let's give that a try.
I don't know if my console is once again not showing, or my terminal's
Oh,
not showing anything.
okay. Let's try to fix that.
I thought it might have had read-only access, but then you gave me
All
access,
right,
and it's still.
I'm gonna trash this terminal, and we're gonna create a new one. Go like
Get that
this.
shit out of here.
Okay, how about now?
Hey,
Cool.
we're back.
Awesome. So now I'm gonna cd into client and uninstall ESLint and the ESLint config from there. This is like a this is a pattern like of the separate client and API directories. That pattern is one that I've used to use in the past a lot, but it's been a little while since I've like built a project like this. But I'm pretty sure I now that I'm doing this, I remember I remember running into a similar issue like months ago when I like the last time that I spun up a project like this. Okay, so now that should be good. I think. Yeah, okay, now um, oh no. Maybe I'm wrong. Dude, maybe we're just doomed. What the heck? I'm gonna try one last thing, and if it doesn't work, we're just gonna press forward and say fuck it.
All
Okay,
right.
sorry, I had to end that live sharing thing. Damn.
This Twitch stream will just be our dissension into madness.
Yeah, dude, somebody had to see it. It's important to show the realities of a life as a developer. It's like 70% just wrestling your editor and your dependencies and all that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is working. Cool. Yeah. Let me just try one more thing. Great. I'm going to share this thing again with you. Do. Okay, hop in, and we're off to the races. Let me know when you're in, and I'll create a terminal as well.
Cool. It's just loading.
All right, you're in?
I am
Okay,
in.
I'm going to create a terminal. You give it the old
Yep.
GHGH. Great. All right, so here's what I was hoping to show originally is like the prettier aspect of this, and using VS Code's autofix on save feature. When I make like some formatting mistakes, like I can just add a bunch of shit. And I don't know if you see this, but I have red underlines kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then when I hit save, it automatically like runs through my ESLint config and tries to fix everything that it can fix automatically. So it just makes my code. I don't have to do anything to keep my code looking well formatted.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now with that out of the way, let's just like let's make something here. So um, we'll give this a title, Sorrento, and what we want to display is like a list of customers and maybe just like a button that says like next customer or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like to just to like sort of scope this out, we can be like customer A and customer B, customer C, and then at the end we'll have a button that says like next customer. And I have to restart our development server and open that port. Okay. So now we're just starting up our development server again, and then once that's ready, which it should be now, you can check out localhost 8000 in your browser, and you should see it.
A beautiful list, beautiful button.
Nice. All right, so and then the last thing I think just this is kind of like what the admin interface will consist of, but just for our purposes right now of testing this thing out, we're going to need to add like a form for us to create a new customer and add them to the list. Um, so yeah, let's do that. Do you want to drive for a minute?
Sure.
So we'll just like create a form with an input and like a submit button. I'll follow you.
Well, first I'll just. What type of input are we looking for? Just a text?
Yeah.
Cool. And we want a separate button for.
Yeah, I think so. Like some kind of just submit button.
Cool.
Cool.
Oh shit.
Dude, yeah, and here's the other thing. Like you just it's probably just out of habit. Like you highlighted these two lines and indented them.
You
My
don't need
my
to.
my habit now is like whenever I want to fix formatting, you can probably try
Save.
it. Like if you hit save on your side, what happens? Yeah, it just
Yeah, it
does
does
it.
it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
So let's give our button needs some text.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to just type submit, but it needs.
Anything will do. Submit, add customer, whatever.
That's what I want.
Cool. All right. So now, if we like type in our field and hit add customer, it'll automatically like just basically redirect us. But instead of doing that, let's set up like a form submit handler, and then basically like we're gonna set up like some custom functionality for this.
Yep. Um,
So the convention that I'm using here is like having like a functional component, and what we can do is, well, for starters, I guess like one thing that we can do is just add an on submit handler or an on submit prop to our form, and so
mhm.
then whenever this form gets submitted, this function gets run. And if we want to be super organized about it, we can we can define like our submit handler function inside of our component body here. So like what I'll typically do is say like function handle submit, and then like do something in here, and then I just take a handle submit and I pass it as
Into
the
the,
on submit for the form there.
oh yeah.
Um, Yeah, but then with our form submit handler, the first thing that we're going to want to do is, in order to prevent this like the page refresh effect.
Yeah.
Um,
Prevent that default.
yes, sir. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Dope. And let's just console log something so we can like see that it's doing something. Nice.
Um,
All right. And now if we try this, we get our I've been clicked. Cool. Um, another convention of like that I like to use when I'm working with forms is like you can access the values of inputs using by giving the inputs a name attribute. Have you ever
yeah.
worked with that?
Hmm.
Cool. Let's set that up. So we'll like, yeah, give the input a name, and then basically let's just change the console log to log the actual value of the input.
Cool. Um, do you care what the name is?
It could be I would call it either like name or customer.
Cool.
Whatever
We'll do
whatever
name.
sounds good to you. Yeah, sounds good.
And then would you just reference it as name itself?
Yeah, I would just say like the you can reach into um, like you can grab the name from the submit event actually. So and this goes for all events in JavaScript. They have a target on which like
Hmm.
they happen. So like e.target in this case is a reference. Oh shit, that just like auto expanded. E.target is a reference to the form itself. Like that's where the submit event is being captured from, because we have like the
Hmm.
on submit prop hooked up to the form. And yeah, exactly, just like that. So e.target.name is now like a reference to the name field. So if we try that out and hit add customer, you'll see in your console you should see like input type text name equals
Text.
name,
Yep.
and then we can get the current value of that by just appending
Dot value.
dot value. Yes, you got it. All right, let's try that now. Cool.
Beautiful.
It's tight. So that's probably as far as we can get with this at this point, just because now we need a server where we can actually start submitting this shit to. So we'll say like to do uh, submit name, or like add name to wait list. But yeah, this should be good enough for now. I'm gonna create another shared terminal so that we can keep our. We're gonna in the end we'll probably have like 3 terminals going. We'll have one for the client, one for the API, and then one where we can just like write commands in, like install stuff and make commits to GitHub and stuff like that. So
Cool.
I'll create a new terminal, and then yeah, we're just gonna like add. We're gonna add all the changes that we just made and create a commit and push that commit to the master branch. Do you want to do you see the terminal window Number two.
Yeah, number
Yeah.
two.
Do you want to just create a get commit for us? And I'm just gonna grab a refill on the coffee. All
Yeah.
right.
We're just working off of master.
Yep. YOLO, man.
Fuck it.
YOLO. My only Twitch emote is like a word art version of the acronym YOLO. I truly live by the YOLO. All right. Sweet. Also, I faced a harsh reality when I went to my coffee pot.
That was
I had
quick.
already had the last cup. It's all over. Oh, but dude, you're gonna appreciate this. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a bag of beans that I've been waiting to have, but I don't have a good grinder. I don't have any coffee grinder at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to get them ground, but I got this nice sight glass single
Ooh.
origin coffee. I don't know if you ever heard of sight glass before.
I haven't.
They're sick. They're like an SF based coffee roastery, and they make really nice coffee.
Hell yeah. Love to see
What are
that.
you
I've
What are you
got
sipping on right now?
yeah, you've been to my
Mm-hmm.
apartment. There's a coffee roaster right next door who
Nice.
right when I moved in I started befriending
Sick,
just to
dude.
get that in. So now my boy Jeffrey and I are on DM terms, and I DM him
That's
on
amazing.
Monday, Wednesday, or Friday when he's in roasting, and I go over and get some beans.
Love it.
It's a beautiful man,
That's a good friend to
making
have,
some
man.
beautiful beans. Yeah, he's it's been very very nice because if you run out, you just literally walk out your front door and into the next door and get some coffee.
That's clutch.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's see. So now our next step, I guess, is let's create an API, and so to do that, I'm just gonna do something here. We'll create a new folder called API, and then in our terminal number 2, I'm gonna cd into API and npm init -y once again. And uh, 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 uh. Sorry, I'm trying to clean this stuff up. This should have been dev dependencies. Whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Um,
Is there any difference, like, other than like syntactically? Like,
Sometimes, like for example, uh, if you're deploying a Node app on Heroku or Netlify, which are just like two like different hosting providers, they will.
it'll ignore dev
Yeah,
dependencies?
exactly. Like they'll install
Nice.
everything and then they'll remove dev dependencies, or they might like not even install dev dependencies. So it's a good way to like keep your it's like a separation of concerns, kind of like your production code has this set of dependencies, and then your developer code has everything that your production code has, plus like these extra things that you use locally just for development.
Sweet.
Yeah. So and then in our API, what we're going to need is we're going to use this thing called socket.io. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay, cool. So
Let's
socket.io.
go.
I'll send you a link.
So good. I'm
You're already there?
yeah, this is my post stream homework.
All right. Well, Socket.io is like a way, it's like a wrapper around this technology called WebSockets, which allow for like real-time communication. Basically, the concept at a high level is you have a server that is listening for and emitting messages. So when a message comes into the server of a certain type, it'll be able to like respond to it accordingly, like do something as a result of that message coming in, and then the server can also emit messages. And then on like when you're on your website side of things, you have some piece of software that's also listening for events coming in and then broadcasting out to a server as well. So it's like a way for these things to communicate without you having to like explicitly say like, okay, now refetch my data. Instead, the server is basically will like send out an event, and your client will just be able to like passively listen to it. Yeah, and so like the way it would work for our thing is like, you know, person signs up, it gets added to the wait list. Our server like handles that shit internally, like adds them to some list that we're storing, and then broadcasts an event. And then every website or like anywhere where that website is loaded, will be listening for events. So once that event is broadcast, all of the listening websites get updated automatically. And this is not something that you'd be able to do with just like a typical REST API or something where it's that's just kind of like a one-way data flow. You're basically saying like when I click this button, request this data, and then we'll display the response. Or like when I load the page, request this data. Instead, we're saying just like, tell me when there's new data available.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, let's see here. So I'm just looking at this the overview article that I sent you. There's this. Oh man, I wish I can. Here, I'll send you this new link, and you can follow along in just a sec.
I'm already on that.
Nice. Are you on the like? Can you see my desktop as well? Or are you looking at the stream video?
No, I don't have the stream open.
Oh, okay.
Should I?
No, don't worry about it. I was just wondering. Hey, what's up, Max? How's it going, dude? So I'm on this like sending and receiving events part of the article, and so this is basically like a simple, just a few lines example of like creating a socket.io server, and then what's happening is if you're reading the article, it's like on connection, then you get like an instance of the socket, which is like that like one computer's connection to your server. And then you have a chance to emit events. io.emit will like emit an event to everybody that's connected to the server, and then socket.emit will emit an event only to that one particular computer that's connected. But in this case, like what we want to do is emit events to everybody, and then we can, like they're doing here, socket.on. So on is a way to listen to events, listen to incoming events. So we can say on, and then give our event a particular name. for example, in our case, it's going to be like create or like add, or we want to account for that like add customer event, and then we'll add that person to our list, and then like emit an event to all of the connected computers with the updated waitlist. That's kind of the flow that we want to create here. So let's see. We're going to need to just install npm. We're going to go npm install back in the terminal socket.io, and this will be the library that we use to create our WebSocket server. All right. And in here, I'm just going to create a file called. Well, what name do you like better for our API like main file? Some of the conventions are like app.js or server.js or index.js.
I like an app.js.
Let's try that. So app.js will just have we'll create our socket server by going require socket.io, and then basically call the function that's returned by require socket.io with some port like 80, or maybe like in our case, let's just do like port 4000 or something, just to make it super different. Yeah, this is essentially the same as saying const like socket io equals require socket.io, and then on a separate line calling like io equals socket io. Yeah, the first line is like a way of just kind of one-lining this otherwise like multiple line operation.
Beautiful.
It's not bad. Okay, and now, yeah, the next thing we need to do is just like in like this example shows, we're gonna listen to a connection event, and then right now let's just like, yeah, we'll listen for connection event and then send back a copy of the current wait list to the computer that just connected. So I'll do this part, and then I'm gonna get you to do the client implementation when after we get this done.
Okay.
Okay, so on connection we'll have our socket instance, and we can just say socket.emit. I guess we can call it waitlist, or maybe just list for short. And we'll just give it back an array of customers, customer A, customer B, and customer C. Cool. Maybe we call this like data. This event is called data. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, and then yeah, I think that's really all we need to worry about right now. The other thing I'm going to do is, because I just noticed how I've got janky formatting and it's not fixing it automatically for me, so we can open up package.json and add an ESLint config. Hopefully this one will actually work. That should be all I need to do. So by default, like if I'm using the default ESLint config, I can omit this. I can omit the word ESLint config, but in the React project, because I was using like a subconfig /React, I have to have the entire string. But yeah, that's just some useless knowledge there. But now back in app.js, I have all the underlines, and I hit save, and it all just
Wow.
It all just works. And maybe we
Beautiful.
call this customers instead of list. Okay. Yeah, that should be enough for us to get going. The only other thing that I need to do is um, in our API, we're going to create an npm script called start, and this will just run node app.js. So now let's see if I hit npm start node. Yeah, it runs our app.js, and it should just be ready to receive some events that we send it. But one
Lovely.
little thing to note is if I change this, like let's say I change this word customers to list again, the original app.js that was read in when we called node app.js will remain the same. Like the changes that we just made won't get picked up automatically.
Mm.
So to get around that, we can install this this other program, and it's going to be a dev dependency because we only really need to like pick up changes to our file in development. But
Hmm.
and it's called node mon, or like no daemon. I don't know. You pick whatever pronunciation you want. But yeah, so we'll get node mon. And so yeah, what nodemon is just like a drop-in replacement for the node command. Instead of running node app.js, we run nodemon app.js, and then every time we save that app.js file, it'll just rerun the server.
And there you go.
Yeah, Bob's my uncle. So now if I go npm start, it'll run nodemon app.js, and you'll see now when we change this word customers to list, it'll say like restarting due to changes, starting node app.js, and then that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we have a React app running, and we have a Node API running. So we can actually connect these now. So back in the client index.js file, let's see here. Um, so in the do you have the socket.io docs still open?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what we want to do is like just a few lines up, what like the code block right above the sending and receiving events title. There's like
Yeah. The
a client
client.
example. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna want to implement something like this in our React app. But if in this case they're using just like the a script tag with a socket.io file.
Hmm.
But what we can use instead is I think it's like socket.io client. It's an npm package. Yeah, it's this package here. I'm gonna link you. And let's see. Yeah, Max, this is what we're creating is kind of like a sign in on an iPad kind of thing, except we're building it for a barbershop, which is currently walk-in only. Like they have a pretty old clientele. They're not going to be into like a check-in iPad thing. So instead, what we want to do is build an app where they text their name to a number, and then they get added to the waitlist just via like an SMS. And that SMS part of the equation is we're gonna get to that at another time. But yeah, for right now we're just figuring out how to build the waitlist itself. So yeah, Ken, you can in
So
the
you talk about just importing it?
yeah. Let's first we can install it. So like in the first terminal, we can just like Control C to stop the build process, and then install.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can install the node module there.
Sorry, I'm just pulling it up again.
For sure.
Just like that?
Yep. While you do that, I'm actually gonna just like fix the dependencies in the root. Oh, in the root of this repo from being dependencies to dev dependencies. Yeah, I love how you can really maximize the like having two people working on one thing at the same time. You can actually do like you can do two things at the same time here. Yeah. Okay, so now we have that installed. Let's. Yeah, why don't we? Well, actually, let's give this give my ESLint stuff a second to get reinstalled here, and then we'll get into it. But yeah, actually, in that npm in the npm docs for this package, they basically have like an example of how you might do this, like how you might respond to events. So we can do that.
Are you referring to the code in the script tags?
Yeah. So we'll do something similar to that, but obviously like within our React component. So like you're familiar with the React lifecycle methods, right? Like component did mount, component did update, stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna do something basically like the same along the same lines as that, but because we're using a function component here instead of like a class component, we don't have access to those like class methods, like component did or component did mount. Have you used React hooks before?
I just have started digging into them, so if you want to use them, I'd be stoked.
Right, cool. Yeah. So there's like hooks equivalent ways to do different things that you would do normally, or you would have previously done using lifecycle methods. So, for example, component did mount is expressed by like the hook use effect. And if we go like type use effect, import that from React. Basically, what this does is use effect is kind of like a general purpose component did mount / component did update type of thing. And what you're saying here is like do something or like basically run this function when the contents of this array that you pass as a second argument to use effect changes. So in order to make it behave like component did mount, we just supply an empty array to use effect. but you could like respond to prop changes or things like that by passing like props dot whatever to this, and
Hmm.
uh, and yeah, then anytime this value changes, this function gets run again. So that would be the equivalent of like a component did update, but
Hmm.
it's even more like targeted, more specific. You're saying like only when these things change, then do something, and we can actually test that this works like uh, mounted. So now every time we load the page, or like when this component gets mounted to the page, we should see this mounted console log. But we need to start our development server
NPM start.
again. Yeah.
I got you.
All right. I'm going to go get more water. Be right back.
Yep. Oh fuck. Yo, Trevor.
All right.
I ran it. I ran it in Terminal One.
Yeah.
Is that where we?
Yep.
Is that
Yes,
all
sir.
right? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's React app. So it looked different, and I was like, "What did I just
Oh,
run?"
true, true.
Because the different npm starts.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I got you.
Okay,
No, we're good, man. And yeah, if you install or if you
lovely.
look at localhost 8000 in your browser, you should see everything renders like it did before, but now we get the
Yeah,
mounted
mounted.
console log. So it's basically in this use effect area that we want to um, like create our socket.io connection,
So
and
every time something updates, it happens in this function.
kind of what well basically because we're passing an empty array to this use effect, we're saying like only run this code once when the component when this component mounts. We want to like set up our socket connection, but like every time the component re-renders, we don't want to like reset up a socket connection. We only want to
Hmm.
do that once. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so we can do that. Like let's uh, like based on the example in their docs, we can create a socket connection and then like listen for our data event that we are emitting. You want to take this?
Do you want me to take
Yeah,
this?
dude. Let's get it.
Okay, I'm just reading the docs right
Okie
now.
dokie.
Are you looking under like the first code block, or are you looking under server side?
Like the first code block, but they have like a well, there's like on the npm page, they have like the first code block which has two script tags, and then the second code block which has an import
Hmm.
statement. Yeah, we want to use that import statement. So
Okay.
like yeah, that's probably like where we can start. Just like import the socket.io package, and then use the code from the first code block within our use effect call.
Cool.
Hell yeah. Dope. So let's see. Um, we can we can test a few things here. Like we have our right now we have like three listeners set up. We're listening to a connect event, we're listening to a disconnect event, and then we're listening to like this event called event. Um, so maybe like for starters, what we can do is just like let's do
Work on the
yeah
connect.
let's like within the connect event, let's just like console log whatever anything um, when we've established a connection, so that we can debug that side first. Let's like first make a connection to the API and then go from there. Cool.
Just gonna go.
Yep. I got some new oranges from the grocery store. They were like they didn't have the oranges that I normally get, and these ones are not as good, I gotta say.
No, hate to hear
Mm.
that.
They're supposed to be seedless, but there's like a seed in every fifth orange slice.
I would sue them. Or
They'll be hearing from my lawyers, man. Don't you worry. All right. So let's see what happens when we reload the page.
I'm just getting errors. And it's
Yeah, so we're getting errors.
in a loop.
So it's saying like the request to localhost / socket.io failed because there's a CORS policy error, but I think I have an idea of why this is probably happening. So
do we need to specify the localhost?
Yeah, you got it. Let's specify the port.
Just like that.
Like we want to specify the port that our API is hosted on. So yeah, if you open up our API's app.js, we can see there at the top there we're specifying 4,000. Yeah. So let's try that.
So it. Oops.
Cool. Let's see. Okay. Did you see the connected to API message there? If you refresh the React app.
Yeah, I see the connected and then all the errors.
Let's see. Connected to API. Okay, cool. But this is better now. Like if you just like refresh the page hard, you shouldn't see any more errors, I don't think.
So I'm. That's weird.
Oh,
I am
still seeing errors?
Yeah.
I think I know why. Because I didn't.
We're on localhost 8,000.
Yeah, and
we're setting it to 4,000.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing any errors on my side because I've got both of those ports running on my computer, but I haven't. I've only shared 8,000 with you, so I need to share 4,000.
Give it to Papa.
Okay. So
Give it
I
to
shared
Papa.
4,000 with you. Now let's see what happens if you try refreshing your page. Anything?
Connected to API.
Beautiful.
No more errors.
Love
it's
it.
Gorgeous.
Okay. Just a little tangent into ports. So like we can specify port a specific port, but when you like request a website or like if we just say localhost, um, like the default port that this like base URL is hosted at is always 80. So, um, and I guess that like there's no reason that we need to like have this at a more crazy port. So what do you think about just changing our socket IO port to 80, like on our API, and then
Mm-hmm.
it simplifies our app code as well. We don't need to remember ports anymore. And then the thing is that when we host this thing for real anyway, it's going to be hosted at port 80 as well. Like we're going to host it at some URL, and we're just going to hit that URL, and we're not going to want to pass around a port, and in that case anyway. So I just changed the app.js to 80, and now instead of writing like localhost at port 80, you can just omit the port entirely.
Mm.
And then when you save, let's see what happens. Okay. And you get a bunch of errors because the old socket connection is still kicking around. Maybe I have to refresh the. Oh, one sec. Let's see what happens here if I try to run this. I see. So maybe we should maybe we do actually have to use a different port, because when I try to run our like WebSocket API on port 80,
Mm-hmm.
it's saying that port is already in use, which is probably like true within my computer. Something is using
True.
localhost with like no port attached to it. So whatever, we'll just go back to port 4000. If you can add that back to the app, I'll run our API again, and then we should be in the clear.
Connected to API.
Great. Me too.
Bravo.
All right, dude. So now the next thing that we should do is just we want to display listen to this data event that we're emitting from our app. So like, or from our API. Like if you go back to the API code, and you'll see this like socket.emit line. So now when on this, like within this block that's like io.on connection, this is basically saying like, what do we do when we receive a new connection? Well, we get the socket, like the representation of that machine that just connected to our API, and then we send them a data event, and that data event has some like customers attached to it. And I'm going to change the lettering B, C, and D to differentiate from what we already have in the app. But yeah, so now knowing that, we can, back in our React app, we can listen for this data event, and we can hopefully console log the like its payload.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, in the React app, like right now, we can probably just do it rather than responding to a connect event. Let's just listen for a data event.
Sorry, you cut out for a second.
Oh, I just said like right now we're listening to a connect event, and then we're console logging something. Instead, let's just listen for a data event, and then console log like the data that we get passed.
What do you mean a data event?
Okay, so yeah, like the way that these like socket, this socket.on function works is the first argument that you pass it is like a string representing the name of your event. So if in your API you're saying like socket dot emit foo, and you're saying like this is the data that you pass it, then in your client you can like listen for that event by saying socket dot on foo, and then you get that data. Like you can then do something with data.
I see.
That's kind
so
of
we
the
want to
idea.
do socket dot on connection data.
Really, like I'm thinking that we can just say like socket dot on data,
Okay.
and then do something like this. Let me know what you think. Like we can go console log that, and let's just see what we get here. So now when we refresh the page, the thing mounts, and we get back an object, and it's just an array of customers. Beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Okay. And so now I think the next thing we can do is just like render that render that in the page. And so to do that, we're going to use state. Like we're gonna want to save those customers to our local component state, and then in our render, or like in the return value of the component, we'll just loop through those customers and render them in the page.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to do I'll work through the state part, and then you can do the rendering if you're cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So since we're using hooks, we can grab the use state hook, which is another function that comes with React, and you use it like this. You can call use state and then give it a default value. In our case, our default value for our customers is just going to be an empty array, and the return value of the use state hook is it's what's called a tuple, or basically like an array with two elements. And the first one is the current value, which we'll just call customers, and the second element in the array is a setter, so we'll call that set customers. And so then in our like what is basically a component did mount function, we can, instead of console logging data, we will just call set customers and then pass in data dot customers like that. So yeah, that'll like populate this customer's array. Variable as an array with all the data that we get back. So yeah, now with that,
and that's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty like I don't know. It feels really simple. Like there you don't have to know about like setting some initial state and calling like this dot set state and all that stuff. It's just really explicit. Like this state is about customers, and this function sets the customers. It's like a one-to-one relationship.
Yeah, sorry. This is hooks are still very new to me, so I'm just wrapping my head around the syntax and.
So the idea is that this customer's value, because this is a React hook, this customer's value will change every time we call set customers, and that will force our component to re-render. It's the same as if we called this dot set state in a React class component.
Yeah.
So yeah. So with that, do you want to take our customer's value or our customer's variable, and we'll replace the
UL?
replace the U, or like the existing
the li
stuff with that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So should I be targeting the UL or the LIs themselves?
I would just yeah, like you can remove the LIs and replace them with uh, like you're basically just going to map over the customers, which is an array,
Hmm.
and then render one LI per customer. And then within there, you can just go return and return like a JSX component.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't worked in React in a little while, so it's all
No,
coming back.
it's all good. One thing
Um,
I'll just point out is
yeah,
that you want to whenever you're like executing JavaScript within
you
your
need to
like HTML, you want to
escape.
you just want to like enclose it with curly braces, so like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But then in here, yeah, like you could just return an li with the customer's name.
Um, did we give them a name, or would I do data.customers?
No, in this case, like because we're using up in the use
Oh
effect, we're
yeah.
like using set customers and passing it just like the whole array inside data.customers. So right now, the customers array is just an array of names. So
Hmm.
the way that you have it there is right, but just like once again, if you're using when you're using like raw JavaScript within JSX, um, almost you want to put the curly braces just around like the JavaScript variable that you're using. So in this case, it would just be
Uh,
customer. Yeah,
true.
that's it. Cool. And then this red underline is complaining because it says that we're missing a key prop for an element in an iterator. So whenever we render an
Uh,
array in JSX, yeah, you need to provide a key for each one. Yeah, you got it. That's it.
is that
Yeah.
right?
Except we just need to yeah, there you go. And then add another parentheses before customer.
Right.
Yeah, and then you can use that index as the key.
Yeah, and I add that here.
Yep, exactly.
Um,
That's
is that
it.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, this is all starting to come back to me, but
Hell yeah, dude. No, this is sick.
I
Like
need to get back into React world.
you're doing it. This is like exactly how you do that. Okay, cool. So now if we load the page again, now you'll see our old like customer ABC is replaced with our new customer BC and D.
Yeah.
Sick. Okay, cool. So let's see. Let's how you doing on time? You want to um, how much time do you have to spend on this?
I'm just getting in the zone. No,
All right.
I'm I'm easy. What are you thinking?
Like I'm thinking maybe we go for another hour or so, or like even I'd be down for if you want to wrap up sooner, we can go another half hour and call it a day.
Yeah, between the two of those is fine with me. Um,
All right. Cool.
I'm maybe gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Entertain yourself until I'm back.
I will. Awesome. We're doing it, guys. This is sweet. I'm entertaining, Max. I would juggle, but I don't have any juggling balls right now, and I can't juggle, so that too. Yeah, how's everybody's day going? Have a nice weekend. I hope this orange slice doesn't have a sheet in it. They're kind of bitter too. And it has a seed. You doing good, Max? I saw you on the you were in the Orbit stream this morning. Love to see that. Sapporo orange is truly, yeah, it's not the best. Plenty of time, huh? True, yeah. How's your WebRTC project going? All right. Yo. Okay, cool. So, oh shit. All right. One thing I just wanted to point out, just like little, I don't know, thing to know, but the way that this function's written, it's just like a function that all it does is return this li. And another way that you can express function like this is using a pattern called implicit return. This is an explicit return where you're actually calling return, but an implicit return just looks like this.
Throw it right up there. Yeah.
So and this is useful if like I said, the only thing that you want to do with a function is return something. But if you have to do other stuff, then of course this is not an option. But yeah, implicit return versus explicit return.
Well, then let's do implicit. Or are we doing more?
No. We're implicit will work for us for sure. Okay, Now I think the next thing we can do is just set up this. We can set up this submit handler. Yeah.
Oh, true. Right now we're just console logging.
I'm just thinking though. How do we actually send stuff?
What's the input and the button? What purpose is that serving in the app? Because isn't that being dynamically generated through
like a SMS?
The Swilly, what's it called? Swilio?
Yeah, Twilio.
Twilio.
Yeah, it will be.
Are we just using this for now?
Yeah, we're just using this for now, just so that we have like an easy way to like test it and iterate it. Because if we were doing it all through SMS and Twilio, it would just like it would make it hard to develop. Like if we had to send SMSs like every other second.
No, yeah, that makes complete sense. I was just.
Yeah, that's like that's the idea.
Okay, yeah, just clarifying that.
For sure.
Making sure I wasn't missing out on some.
No, you got it.
Some glaring oversight.
So yeah, we'll remove that like before we're finished.
Yeah.
But yeah, so right now we're looking at I'm looking at this handle submit function, and I know that looking at the socket.io docs that I want to be able to call like socket.emit and then like call this like add maybe, and I guess we pass it like a customer. Yeah, can you see the code that I'm writing here?
Yep.
Yeah, so like we want to call this with our customer's name, uh, but right now we have no way of like reaching this socket from in
Hmm.
here. So I'm just gonna look on the internet, like use socket.io with React, and I want to see what other people do. And the first result that I got is this article from like just earlier this year, actually. So that means that it's probably recent, and they're hopefully also using hooks, so we can get a glimpse at like what. Yeah, they are using hooks. So down here, I'll send you another link. Implementing the React client. Oh, I guess that this guy doesn't show us an example of actually sending stuff back. So maybe I'll have to look elsewhere. Let's see. What I'm thinking is we can store our socket, our like WebSocket instance.
Outside of the use effect function.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Socket.io with React ref. And okay, here's a question that I see here. So yeah, you can see in the answer, they have two examples. They have one example using a React class component, and then a second one using like hooks.
Hmm.
So we'll do something like this hooks example here.
The try and catch.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we can probably forget the try catch part. Um, and then basically what we want to do is they're defining socket using a ref, which is another like React constant, or a React concept. And a ref is like it's like usually used for storing like an instance of something. So it's rather than like a plain object, it's like a
Hmm.
key value type of thing, or just like plain values like we would store in state. A ref is used to store like an instance of something. In this case, it's like an instance of our socket connection. And so
Cool.
what they're doing is they call just IO. I think we'll call IO with our um, like URL and port. I think I'm not sure why they're doing it there with no arguments. Whatever. We can try it. What I'm wondering is, they're also calling socket.open in their use effect, which they're using the same pattern that we are, like passing an empty array to the second argument of use effect. And as their comment at the bottom of the code sample implies, like we're passing an empty array to only run on mount.
Hmm.
And then yes, but then in the use effect they call socket.open, and then they also, at the end of their use effect, they return a function that calls socket.close. And that's an important part that we forgot, is that when the component mounts, we want to open a socket connection, but when the component unmounts, we want to close that connection. And so that's what this does. Like basically the return value of your use effect function is specifying what your component should do when it unmounts. So we'll have to do that too. But in any case, like this will allow us to like emit events using the socket outside of our use effects. So I'm just going to copy and paste this code. We could do something like this. Import use ref. And I'm just going to look up quickly. I want to know what the difference between socket dot, or yeah, whether we should pass our URL to socket.open, or socket.open, or somewhere else. Okay, yeah. So I'm looking at the socket.io docs, and open does not take any arguments. So that means that we do need to pass our we'll pass our URL to this IO call, and then in use effect we can say socket.open, and finally we'll return a function that calls socket.close. And this is a funny thing about ESLint. We explicitly want this to be to be an empty array, but ESLint is trying to be helpful, and it notices that like we're using something in here in our use effect call that it thinks should be a dependency of this use effect. So when I hit save, it just like conveniently adds socket to the end here, which might actually not really like fuck things up for us. Let's see what happens actually. If we just hit save there, still not ideal. Like I kind of want it to just stay stay empty. But what I'm going to do to test this is like effect run. I'm just going to add a console log in my use effect function, so that I can I can kind of see how many times it actually gets run. So it only gets run once there, and nothing happened. That's interesting. Or now we don't have our customers coming back, which is curious. Oh, now we got him. That's so weird. Maybe I had something fucked up. In any case, I think what I'm going to do, just to, for now, just to prevent ESLint from automatically fixing this, is I can use comments to like tell ESLint how to behave. So in this case, I'll say like I can use this directive ESLint. What is it called? ESLint ignore next line. No, it's not ESLint ignore. What is it? ESLint. I'm gonna search on Google.
I'm already on it.
Do you know what it is?
ESLint disable next line.
Disable next line. There we go. So that'll do it for us. So we can,
Damn, that's sick.
yeah. So we can disable the entire line, or disable the next line entirely, or we can be really specific about what parts of the next line we want to ignore. For example, and we do that just by adding like a space between ESLint disable next line and then the ESLint rule that we want to let slide. So in this case, the rule when I hover over the empty array, it says like React hook use effect has a missing dependency socket. Either include it or remove the dependency array, and then it references the actual rule that's triggering this, which is React -hooks / exhaustive depths. So just to be super clear here, I'm going to say disable next line React hooks exhaustive depths.
I think you need a U in exhaustive.
Ah, shoot, you're right. There we go.
I got you.
Cool. And now we have our
Sick.
the way that we truly want it. and also now, we should be able to like emit events back to our API within our submit handler. Yeah. Do you want to do that part?
Yeah, is that the code that we had before?
Yeah, I think we wrote it out somewhere, but it should be simple to replicate. Like within the submit handler, we basically want to send the name back to the server. Yeah.
Sorry, one sec.
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to find the instance of that. Oops. Is this?
Go ahead.
Are we referring to data here? Because we're in the different function. Does it matter what?
Yeah. Basically what we want to do is we're gonna emit a different event. So the data event is one that's coming from the server, and its main purpose is just giving us what the current state of things are. And in this case, we just want to create a new event that we're going to use to add a new customer to the list.
Okay.
So we want to call it something different. And then I think we want to pass an object as the second argument, which is like the event payload. And yeah.
Okay.
And you'll just need the one set of curly braces, and then we can pass the name from the form as like one of the properties on this object.
The name from the form.
Yeah. So right now, like we're console logging the value that we get from the input, from the name input. Mm-hmm. And so then in our socket.emit call, we'll say like the first argument is the name of the event that we want to emit, and then the second argument is an object with like keys and values for like the data that we want to send back. So in this case, like the only thing that we have to send back is a name. So you can write like name and then pass in what you have up there. And E. Holdridge in chat says class-based components over everything. I guess not a fan of hooks, but that's all right. I also like class-based components. I think they're really nice and organized. But I've been on the hook train myself recently. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, this is This is the first time I've been outside of class components and functional components. So,
Yeah, this is a whole
I
new
mean, I
world,
guess
eh?
this is a whole new world for me.
That's cool though. And yeah,
What
no
is happening?
semicolon necessary there. That's it.
Um, cool.
So now we have an event called name that's being emitted back to our server, and then we're passing like the name that we just got from our form. And let's see. Now on our server, we can handle that. So if you go back to app.js,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, let's see. So within our um, well, let's just take a look here. I'm looking at the socket.io docs again, and um, right now we're the thing that we do when we establish a connection is we send back data to the connected socket, but we can also subscribe to events from that socket, and it's using the same syntax. So in here, you can write like socket.on and pass in name. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll just take this. The second argument is just going to be a function where we can, like, the argument will be data, so we can just console log whatever data is passed to it. And let's see how that looks.
Mm. Just like
You got
that.
it. All right, so now we're gonna to like observe the console log. We're gonna want to pay attention to the second terminal window. That's where those console logs are gonna take place. And then just save the file, and we should be able to start seeing this. So then back in localhost 8000, I'm just going to try typing in a customer name and hit add customer. You can do the same thing on your end. Sick, dude. I just see like name Ken pop up in my terminal. Mm-hmm. That's tight.
Love
Okay,
it.
cool. So now we have this data showing up, and what we can do now is when we get that data, let's just like add that name to our customer list, and then emit another data event. And so basically, what that's doing is like whenever we emit a data event from the server, because of that, the listener that we already configured in our use effect hook. So at the top of our use effect hook, we say socket.on data, and then we set customers to the value of data.customers. So that will happen for any time the server emits a data event. So in our app.js, one thing that I'm going to do just to make our life a little easier is we will create a variable called customers out here. That's like our default, our default 3 customers. And then yeah, what we can do is just say in our like the handler part of this name thing, like where your cursor is right now, instead we'll break that out into like a regular curly brace function, and we'll essentially just like, we know that data.name is like the name that we want to add to our customer list, so we can just say like push data.name onto the end of customers, and then emit a data event with the new customers data, and that should work for us. Let's see if that works. I hate autocomplete sometimes.
Sorry. You cut out for a second while you were saying.
Oh no, yeah, you got it. Yeah, we can just say like push data.name.
Data.name.
And then we'll emit a new event. We'll go like socket.emit and emit another data event. Yep. And it'll basically look the exact same as the previous one. So we'll just give an array, an object with customers. All right, let's see what happens now. So you can save that. Did it save? Here, let's try this. Okay. Now that should be saved. I'll restart my development thing. All right.
Oh yeah.
Now when you add something, let's see what happens.
Did yours not come up?
No, I did. It didn't. My list didn't get updated.
Oh, mine is.
What? Okay. Do you see when I update mine? Oh shit! Now it worked. That's interesting. So.
Did you see my fucking weird ass name?
Yeah.
Because our form isn't emptying.
Yeah, Ken Trevor. Okay, so now wait, can you do one more? Yeah, so it didn't update for me, but now when I add one, it'll update. Okay, and I think I know why this is happening. So when we first started looking into Socket.io, I pointed out that there was or I don't know, maybe I did or didn't point out that there's like two ways to emit events. You can emit an event to one individual connection using the socket.emit function.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to emit an event to everybody that's listening, you use io.emit. So if we change this line, so on socket. When we receive a name event, we push that name to the end of our customers array, and then instead of calling socket.emit, we'll call io.emit. And let's see, save that, and let's try now. Oh shit, dude, it worked. You seeing this? Is it working?
Yeah.
Tight. Yeah, that's really nice. And so this is like you can even test this out locally. Like if you just open a second browser tab, or like a second browser window to the same thing. When you add a customer to one, they both get updated like immediately, and they stay in sync, which is really sick. And again, this is like not something that you'd be able to accomplish with plain old like REST API calls or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sick, dude.
Super cool.
I like this. Let's write a commit, and I think this is a good place to, like, a good chunk of work that we can encapsulate into a commit. Do you want to do the honors in tab 3 or in terminal 3?
I'd love to. Terminal 3?
Terminal 3. Now boarding. Terminal 3.
I don't even know what to write out for this. Okay. Is it a database? What would you refer to
just
socket
say
as?
like socket server or socket API or something like that. Yeah. That looks good to me.
Cool.
Sick, dude. We have a little in sync app here.
Love it.
Max in Twitch chat says, "I can sense Trev thinking capitalize the first letter." Man, my Twitch chat knows me too well. Um, Sick though. Yeah, this is dope. What do you think? Do you want this would be a really good place to like wrap up, but there's also obviously like plenty of other stuff we can do. How are you feeling?
I'm easy. It's your call.
All right.
You're steering this ship. I'm
Let's
just along for the ride.
hardly, man. Let's wrap up for today. I think this is a good spot, and like the next like bunch of work will be pretty like beefy, and yeah, better to like start with fresh brains rather than keep throwing ourselves at this one tonight. But and it's also like midnight there, so I want to respect your time.
Well, I mean, we got all the like initializing out of the way today as well,
Yeah, for real.
and
Like this is a
troubleshooting.
really good start. And yeah, like we basically now have like a good environment for us to test um all of the other like bits that we have to create. And now from here on out it's just like straight developing.
Hell yeah,
Sick.
stoked.
Yeah,
That
me
was
too,
fun.
man. That was awesome. When okay, so your hackathon starts on Wednesday, and I assume you're gonna be pretty busy with that stuff for. Is it just the one day or is it the rest of the week?
It's like throughout the week, but I think I'll be spending most like mornings, early afternoons doing it.
Okay.
Um, I mean, yeah, tomorrow I have some sort of orientation for the morning, and then I'll probably spend the afternoon working on a React course I have.
Okay.
But I mean, you're working till like what 5 or 6 every day anyway.
Yep.
So I'm happy to keep doing evenings whenever you're free.
Sweet. Yeah, let's do it. I yeah. I think I might be able to do tomorrow. I'm busy on Thursday, and I can do Friday as well. I think, and I well Wednesday evening I've got I normally do like a web dev stream anyway, so we could just like
Mhm.
we could do it then as well. Um,
Cool.
if you're into it, but I'll let you know about tomorrow because I'm supposed to be doing something on my buddy's stream actually, uh, and I don't know what his timing is. He's East Coast though, so it might be earlier than later. Um,
Cool. Yeah,
yeah,
just keep me.
I'll, I'll,
You
I'll,
got my
I'll
number.
yeah, I'll just shoot you a message tomorrow and let you know what the deal is. But yeah, if you're down, like, well, whenever we do it, whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday, the next order of business is connecting this like data to like a database. In our case, like we're going to use Redis um, as like a nice little temporary data store, and um, and then yeah, once that's hooked up, I guess we can work on like hooking up the that next customer button. So like we can currently we can like add people to our list, but we should also be able to like pop them off,
Hmm.
and so that'll be the next order of business for us. Um,
Sweet.
but yeah, man. Also, J Felly Web on Twitch, he's said this has been a good stream and he learned a lot. And he never got to use Socket.io or seen it put together, so that's pretty dope. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, J Felly Web.
I am learning a lot too. I have no idea what we're doing. I'm just a sponge
That's
here to
that's
learn.
the that's the right attitude though, man. By the end of this, we're gonna have a really sick little app, and it's this is a nice one because it's so like the mission is so focused. Like we don't have to account for lots of extra variables and stuff. Like
Hmm.
we're basically just trying to do two things: add people to a list and pop them off the list. And so I think it'll be a pretty straightforward project. But yeah, we'll both come out of this having learned a lot, which is going to be dope.
Yeah, I've already learned a ton. So
Awesome, man.
It'll be nice. And I mean, yeah, I'm working on a React course while we're doing this, so hopefully by
It's
the
good
end I
timing.
can I can be a little more help.
No, no, you've been it's been huge, man, and yeah, just looking forward to the next one.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
sounds good, Ken. Have a good night,
All
man.
right. Cheers, you
See
too.
ya. Dope. I guess this video is just frozen, but that's okay. Cool. Well, that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you everybody for coming around. If you want to follow Ken, he's a friend of mine. He's just on the beginning of his coding journey. Um, I'm gonna link his Twitter in the chat. Definitely drop him a follow, and yeah, he's we're gonna you're gonna see a bit more of Ken on the stream as we continue to build this app. So yeah, anyway, thank you everybody for coming by, and really appreciate. Uh, no, no, he's my. We have a mutual friend who's the barber. Ken is a musician who's picking up web development, actually, and yeah, pretty dope. So I'm obviously uh, in support of that idea. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's anybody we should raid. We could raid. Uh, we could raid CM Griffin. We could raid my buddy Sean. Yeah. What do we think? More science and technology. Let's do that. Why not? All right, guys. Yeah. Have a great rest of your evening, and stay safe out there. Keep your spirits high, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Have another viewer when he's on his phone, it's like a 45